The arrival. The Council ship, a vast pearl-white vessel brimming with technological sophistication, shimmered as it exited faster-than-light travel at the edge of the solar system. Its surface reflected the distant sunlight, gleaming like a polished jewel against the blackness of space. On the bridge, First Speaker Dale of the Galactic Council stood tall, his forearms clasped behind his back in a posture his species used to convey peaceful intent. For Dale, this was a routine mission. Humanity, classified as a primitive, developing civilization, would soon join the Council's grand interstellar community. Another primitive world to welcome into our fellowship, Dale mused aloud, his tone calm but authoritative. His crew, representing dozens of species, worked efficiently at their stations. Initiate standard first contact protocols. A low hum filled the bridge as the ship's communication systems engaged. Over 10,000 years of peaceful integrations had refined the Council's process. Approach cautiously, broadcast greetings in the local language, and await the enthusiastic response of a civilization taking its first steps into the stars. However, something about this mission felt different, though Dale couldn't pinpoint why. Within moments of their arrival, the ship's sensors began to detect unusual activity across Earth's orbit. First Speaker, the sensor officer reported, her voice tinged with unease. We're picking up elevated activity in this system. Satellites are repositioning, and we're detecting concealed weapon platforms emerging from behind the moon. Dale's four eyes widened in disbelief. Weapon platforms? This civilization was classified as Level 2, barely capable of exploring their moon. The tactical officer turned in his seat, his scaled face pale. First Speaker, we have multiple weapon locks across their orbital network. A fleet of warships has just appeared. They were cloaked. The bridge erupted in murmurs, and Dale silenced them with a sharp gesture. Impossible. No Level 2 species could develop cloaking technology. The communication officer, a multi-tentacled being, interjected. Sir, we've broadcast our greetings on all known frequencies. They're jamming our transmissions. Dale's confidence wavered. He had seen peaceful welcomes, cautious receptions, even panicked evacuations, but never this. Earth wasn't curious or afraid. Earth was prepared. Human response. Deep beneath Earth's surface, in command centers hidden within fortified bunkers, military leaders monitored the alien ship's every move. Monitors flickered with real-time data, and commanders barked orders as Earth's combined forces prepared for the worst. On every continent, political leaders convened emergency sessions while troops mobilized with machine-like precision. The alien ship hovered on the edge of the solar system, its imposing form visible even through Earth's telescopes. Yet there was no attempt to communicate. Only silence. Earth's defense systems, a product of decades of covert development, sprang into action. In orbit, satellites armed with advanced weaponry adjusted their positions. Hidden warships, previously concealed among asteroid fields and lunar craters, moved into strategic formations. Humanity wasn't merely reacting, it was executing a plan long in the making. The Council's confusion. Back on the Council ship, chaos simmered beneath the surface. First Speaker, their response is unlike anything we've seen before, the tactical officer said, his voice edged with panic. They're not behaving like a species encountering advanced alien life for the first time. They're behaving, Dale said grimly, like a species that's been invaded before. The bridge fell silent as the implications settled over the crew. Dale felt a chill run down his spine. Move us back, he ordered. Take a safer position. Let's approach from a different vector. As the ship adjusted its trajectory, a single text-based message cut through their communications blockade: maintain your distance. Any approach will be considered a hostile action. The boldness of the message stunned the crew. No species had ever outright rejected the Council before. The bridge fell into uneasy silence, broken only by the constant hum of the ship's systems. A mysterious history. The science officer, a wiry being with shimmering blue scales, broke the silence. First speaker, our analysis of their orbital infrastructure is troubling. Their installations show signs of wear, damage consistent with previous battles. And their weapon platforms, they're far more advanced than expected. Previous battles? Dale echoed, his voice incredulous. We're the first advanced species to contact them. Then how do you explain this? The officer displayed images on the main screen, showing human warships with scars from past engagements and defense stations designed with ruthless efficiency. These weren't tools of exploration, they were instruments of war. The Council's confidence in its superiority began to crumble. Humanity wasn't just defensive, it was hardened, prepared, and unyielding. And it wasn't responding to the Council with fear or curiosity, it was responding with warning and defiance. An uncertain future. As the Council ship maintained its position, more human warships emerged from their hiding places throughout the solar system. They moved with precision, taking positions around Mars, Jupiter's moons, and the asteroid belt. It became clear that Earth had turned its entire solar system into a fortress. First speaker, the tactical officer said quietly, their actions suggest one thing, they've been here before. Dale's voice was grim as he replied, and whatever happened before taught them one lesson, never trust anyone who comes from the stars. The ship hung in the void, motionless yet surrounded by the unyielding defenses of Earth. For the first time in its history, the Galactic Council faced a species that wouldn't bow to its authority or its promise of peace. Earth's silence spoke volumes, and the Council's perfect record of first contacts was about to be shattered. Humanity wasn't afraid of the stars. Humanity had already fought the darkness, and survived. The Galactic Council's ship retreated to a safer distance, its crew struggling to process the events unfolding before them. Humanity's response to their arrival was unlike anything they had encountered in their millennia of peaceful first contacts. On the bridge, first speaker Dale stood in silence, staring at the tactical display. The humans had issued a warning, and their actions left no room for doubt. Earth was not open to diplomacy. As the crew worked to analyze the situation, the science officer reported new findings. Human warships, satellites, and orbital platforms displayed signs of wear and tear consistent with prolonged combat. Some bore the unmistakable marks of energy weapon impacts, while others had the jagged scars left by kinetic strikes. This evidence was undeniable. Humanity had engaged in conflicts of a scale the Council had never anticipated for a Level 2 civilization. First speaker Dale ordered his team to gather more data. The communication officer attempted to send another message, this time directly addressing Earth's leaders. The transmission was jammed again, but not before the humans responded with another chilling message, no further warnings. Withdraw immediately. On Earth, the situation was no less tense. In underground bunkers, military leaders debated the Council's intentions. Some argued that the alien ship's non-aggressive posture was proof of peaceful intent, but others were less trusting. Humanity's history with extraterrestrial life was filled with stories of conflict, betrayal, and survival against impossible odds. Trust was not a luxury Earth could afford. Years of preparation were paying off as Earth's defenses continued to adapt to the Council's presence. Stealth systems recalibrated, warships maneuvered into new positions, and weapon platforms powered up. The unified response of Earth's military forces reflected the hard-earned lessons of their past. Humanity had been caught off guard before, and the consequences had been devastating. This time, they were ready. The Galactic Council, meanwhile, convened an emergency session aboard their ship. Representatives from various species debated their next move, each voice adding to the growing chaos. Some argued for a cautious retreat, fearing escalation with a species capable of such advanced defenses. Others demanded immediate action, claiming that Earth's defiance threatened the Council's authority. First speaker Dale listened to the arguments but remained silent. His mind raced with questions that had no easy answers. How had humanity developed such advanced technology? Where had they encountered alien life before? And most importantly, why were they so unrelentingly hostile? As the debates raged, the Council's intelligence division worked tirelessly to piece together the puzzle. Using long-range scans and intercepted data, they began to uncover fragments of Earth's history. Myths and legends, once dismissed as mere stories, now seemed to carry an underlying truth. Tales of the visitors, from the stars, battles against unknown invaders, and alliances forged in the face of annihilation painted a picture of a civilization that had not only survived but thrived under unimaginable circumstances. Dale considered this information with growing unease. Humanity's resilience was impressive, but it also made them unpredictable. A species forged in the crucible of interstellar conflict might view the Council's peaceful overtures as a prelude to another invasion. If that was the case, the Council would need to find a way to bridge the gap of mistrust, or risk a confrontation that could spiral out of control. As the Council ship maintained its position on the edge of the solar system, humanity continued to fortify its defenses. More warships emerged from concealed locations, each one bristling with weapons and shielded by technology the Council couldn't fully understand. The humans moved with a confidence that was both awe-inspiring and terrifying. Dale knew that the Council's traditional approach to first contact was failing. This was not a species that would be swayed by promises of peace or offers of advanced technology. Humanity had already seen the worst the galaxy had to offer, and they had survived. Winning their trust would require something the Council had never attempted before, understanding humanity on their own terms. For now, the two sides remained locked in a tense standoff, each one wary of making the first move. The Council's perfect record of peaceful integrations was on the verge of collapse, and Earth stood as an unyielding reminder that not all civilizations were eager to join the galactic community. As the stars continued to shine coldly above, the question lingered: would this encounter end in understanding, or in fire? 3 days passed, and the Galactic Council's ship remained stationed at the edge of the solar system. The humans made no further moves, maintaining their defensive positions around Earth and its orbital assets. On board the Council vessel, First Speaker Dale wrestled with the growing weight of uncertainty. Every attempt at communication had been met with silence or stark warnings. Humanity was not merely unwilling to engage, they seemed determined to keep the Council at a distance. The Science Division pored over the data collected from long-range scans. Human technology was a baffling mixture of ingenuity and adaptation. Many systems appeared to be of their own design, primitive in some ways but surprisingly efficient. However, a significant portion of their technology was clearly alien in origin. Shielding systems, energy weapons, and propulsion methods bore traces of designs the Council had only encountered in ruins of long-extinct civilizations. The implications were unsettling. Humanity, a species the Council had classified as Level 2, had somehow encountered alien technology and not only survived but learned to harness it. The scattered remnants of damage on their ships suggested these encounters were anything but peaceful. Humanity had fought battles among the stars before the Council's arrival. Dale called a private meeting with the ship's senior officers. Gathered around a holographic display, they reviewed the evidence. This civilization's development trajectory is unprecedented, the science officer said, her scales rippling with unease. They've reached a level of technological capability far beyond what we predicted, and their designs suggest an alarming degree of innovation. They take what they encounter and make it their own. The tactical officer frowned, his clawed fingers tapping against the table. They're not just innovative. They're prepared. Every defensive move they've made has been calculated, almost rehearsed. This isn't the reaction of a species encountering alien life for the first time. They've faced threats like us, or worse, before. Dale's expression darkened. Which means they likely view us as a threat. The intelligence officer, Director Tom, leaned forward, his robotic form humming softly. There's more. Our analysis of their data streams has revealed something intriguing. Their culture is steeped in stories of conflict with beings from the stars. At first, we dismissed them as myths, but now, it seems they may be rooted in historical events. He projected an image onto the display, an ancient human artifact depicting what appeared to be starships and humanoid figures locked in battle. Similar artifacts had been found in various regions of Earth, dating back thousands of years. If these events are real, Tom continued, it would explain their hostility. They've been conditioned to see extraterrestrial visitors as enemies. The room fell silent as the weight of the revelation sank in. Humanity's defiance wasn't born of ignorance or arrogance, it was born of survival. They had faced the unknown and emerged stronger, though perhaps more distrustful of anything beyond their world. The first speaker leaned back, his mind racing. We need to approach this differently. Traditional diplomacy won't work here. If they've fought alien invaders before, they'll see our gestures of peace as a prelude to invasion. We must show them we're not their enemies. But how? The Council had never encountered a species so unwilling to engage. Every move the Council made seemed to reinforce humanity's belief that they were under threat. As the meeting adjourned, the crew worked tirelessly to refine their approach. A single diplomatic vessel, unarmed and marked with clear symbols of peace, was prepared to make another attempt at contact. Ambassador Ray, the Council's most skilled negotiator, volunteered to lead the mission. His species, known for their empathic abilities, had successfully bridged cultural divides countless times before. If anyone could reach the humans, it was him. The small vessel approached Earth's defenses slowly, broadcasting a simple, heartfelt message on all frequencies. This is Ambassador Ray of the Galactic Council. We come in peace. We only wish to speak. For a moment, there was no response. The crew held their breath, hoping for any sign of acknowledgement. Then, as the ship crossed an invisible boundary, Earth's defenses activated. A massive satellite, bristling with weapons, fired a precision shot. The Council's vessel exploded in a brilliant flash of light, reduced to debris in an instant. On board the Council ship, the crew watched in stunned silence as the destruction played out on their screens. Ambassador Ray, one of their finest, was gone. They didn't even let him speak, the tactical officer said, his voice a mix of shock and anger. Dale clenched his fists, his usually calm demeanor cracking. They've made their position clear. Any further attempts at contact will only escalate the situation. The humans had drawn a line, and the Council now faced an impossible choice: retreat and accept their first failure in millennia, or risk open conflict with a species that had already proven it was willing, and capable, to fight. For the first time in his long career, Dale felt truly outmatched. Humanity's silence was not a sign of fear or indecision, it was a declaration of sovereignty. Earth's message to the galaxy was unmistakable: they would bow to no one. The Galactic Council was in turmoil. News of humanity's outright destruction of their diplomatic vessel spread rapidly among the Council's member species. Representatives from hundreds of civilizations convened in an emergency session aboard the Council's flagship. The massive chamber, normally a place of calm deliberation, was now a chaotic swirl of voices, accusations, and desperate pleas. First Speaker Dale stood at the central podium, his usual air of authority dimmed by the weight of recent events. The room fell silent as he began to speak. Esteemed representatives, we face an unprecedented challenge. Humanity has refused all diplomatic overtures. They've destroyed a peaceful vessel without provocation and have made it clear that they will not tolerate our presence. This is a moment we have not encountered in millennia, and it demands careful consideration. From the upper tiers, a crystalline representative from the shimmering worlds rose, their voice sharp and cutting. Careful consideration. They've attacked us. Such aggression cannot go unanswered. If we allow this, other civilizations might follow their example. A deep, resonant voice from the Stonekin delegation interjected. And what would you suggest? An invasion? Humanity's defenses are far more advanced than we anticipated. They've built an entire solar system designed for war. If we attack, it will not end quickly, or without devastating losses. The chamber erupted into heated debates, the representatives splitting into factions. Some demanded immediate action, arguing that humanity's defiance threatened the Council's authority. Others urged caution, warning that an aggressive response could provoke a conflict that the Council might not win. Dale listened, his expression grim, as the arguments raged around him. Meanwhile, the Council's intelligence division continued their analysis of Earth's capabilities. Director Tom presented his findings to the Assembly, his robotic voice steady despite the tense atmosphere. Humanity's technology is a unique blend of their own ingenuity and adaptations of alien designs. We have identified components from at least 5 distinct alien civilizations, some of which are unknown to us. This suggests that humanity has encountered, and likely defeated, multiple alien threats. The room fell silent at his words. The implications were staggering. Humanity had not only survived encounters with alien species but had emerged stronger, scavenging and reverse engineering the technologies of their adversaries. This was no ordinary Level 2 civilization. Humanity had defied the odds, and their refusal to engage with the Council was rooted in hard-earned mistrust. Dale took the floor again, his voice firm. We cannot view humanity through the lens of our past successes. They are not a frightened, fledgling species in need of guidance. They are a battle-hardened civilization that has faced the unknown and prevailed. If we continue to approach them with the same strategies, we will fail. A representative from the aquatic world spoke, her voice like the gentle lapping of waves. Then what do you propose, first speaker? Do we simply leave them be? Abandon them to isolation? Dale hesitated, choosing his words carefully. No. We must find a way to show them that we mean no harm. But we cannot do so from a position of arrogance. Humanity's actions are not driven by aggression but by survival. To reach them, we must first understand the source of their fear. As the Council deliberated, humanity continued to strengthen its defenses. On Earth, factories worked around the clock to produce more weapons, satellites, and warships. Across the solar system, hidden installations were activated, and Earth's military prepared for every possible scenario. They had faced annihilation before, and they were determined to ensure it never happened again. In the shadows of their preparations, however, not all humans agreed with their leader's stance. Within humanity's ranks, a small group of scientists, diplomats, and visionaries argued for a different path. They believed the Council's intentions might be genuine and that humanity's isolation could not last forever. But their voices were drowned out by the prevailing fear and distrust. The standoff between Earth and the Council grew more precarious with each passing day. The Council's fleet, once a symbol of unity and peace, now loomed at the edge of the solar system, an unspoken threat to humanity's sovereignty. On Earth, military leaders debated whether to strike preemptively, fearing that the Council's patience would soon wear thin. In the midst of the tension, Dale made a bold decision. He ordered the Council's ship to transmit a single message to Earth, bypassing their jamming systems with an experimental method. The message was brief, but its implications were profound. We wish to understand. Show us why you fear us. The response from humanity was not immediate. Days passed, and the Council's ship remained on high alert, its crew bracing for retaliation. But when the reply finally came, it was unlike anything they expected. Humanity sent back a simple signal, coordinates. They led to a remote asteroid field on the outskirts of the solar system. Dale ordered a small reconnaissance team to investigate, their ship cloaked to avoid detection. What they found changed everything. The asteroid field was littered with wreckage. Shattered alien vessels, some unrecognizable, floated silently in the void. The remnants of battles long past told a story of violence and survival. Among the debris, they found human salvage ships, meticulously dismantling the wrecks for parts. The evidence was undeniable: humanity had fought off invaders and scavenged their technology to strengthen their defenses. The Council ship returned with the data, and Dale presented it to the Assembly. "This is why they fear us. To them, we are no different from the invaders they have faced before. If we are to gain their trust, we must prove that we are something more." The Council now stood at a crossroads. Humanity's defiance was not an act of hostility but a cry for self-preservation. The question was no longer whether they could force Earth to comply but whether they could convince humanity that peace was possible. The Galactic Council was faced with an unprecedented challenge: humanity, a species that had not only survived multiple alien encounters but thrived under relentless pressure, saw them as yet another threat. The evidence gathered from the asteroid field painted a grim picture of Earth's history, one of desperation, resilience, and defiance. First Speaker Dale convened a private session with the Council's most experienced diplomats, strategists, and intelligence officers. He outlined a new plan, one that focused not on asserting dominance but on proving the Council's peaceful intentions. It was a risky approach, one that could either defuse tensions or escalate them to the breaking point. The plan involved sending a single unarmed envoy ship to the coordinates provided by humanity. This time, there would be no attempt to bypass their defenses or establish communication by force. Instead, the envoy would simply wait, a silent gesture of patience and respect. The mission would be led by Director Tom, whose synthetic nature and logical perspective made him the ideal candidate for such a delicate task. Meanwhile, on Earth, the coordinates given to the Council sparked intense debate among humanity's leaders. Some argued that it was a trap, a means to lure the Council into a vulnerable position. Others saw it as an opportunity to observe the aliens' true intentions without risking Earth's immediate safety. The final decision was to allow the Council's ship to approach but to maintain full defensive readiness. As Director Tom's vessel approached the designated coordinates, it was met by a small contingent of human ships. These vessels, bristling with weapons and shielded by advanced technology, maintained a strict perimeter around the envoy. No words were exchanged, humanity's actions spoke louder than any message. For days, the two sides remained at a stalemate. The envoy ship drifted silently in the void, its presence an unspoken plea for dialogue. Humanity's warships held their positions, their crews watching for the slightest hint of deception. The tension was palpable, a fragile thread that could snap at any moment. Finally, after nearly a week of silence, humanity responded. A single human ship broke formation and approached the envoy. It was a smaller vessel, its design sleek and utilitarian, and it bore no visible weapons. As it came alongside the envoy, a communication channel was opened. "This is Commander Lyra of the United Earth Coalition," a firm yet cautious voice said. "State your purpose." Director Tom's synthetic voice was calm and measured. "We seek to understand. Your history, your actions, and your defenses suggest you have faced threats beyond your world. We wish to know your story so that we may avoid becoming part of it." There was a long pause. On Earth, leaders watched the exchange with bated breath, uncertain of what Commander Lyra would say next. Finally, she responded, her voice tinged with both pride and bitterness. "Our story is one of survival. We have faced extinction more times than we can count. Every time, we stood alone. Every time, we fought back. And now, you come with promises of peace, expecting us to trust you. Tell me, Director, why should we believe you're any different from the others?" Tom hesitated for a moment, processing the weight of her words. "Because we have no desire to harm you. If we had, we would not have waited, nor would we have approached unarmed. We understand your mistrust, but we ask for a chance to prove that we are not your enemy." The conversation continued, with Commander Lyra carefully probing for inconsistencies while Tom provided earnest answers. Gradually, the hostility in her tone began to wane, replaced by curiosity. She revealed fragments of humanity's history, encounters with hostile alien species, devastating wars, and the relentless drive to ensure Earth's survival. These experiences had shaped humanity into a species that trusted no one and relied on nothing but its own ingenuity. Tom, in turn, shared the Council's history of peaceful exploration and integration. He explained their mission to unite the galaxy's civilizations and their failure to anticipate a species like humanity, one forged in conflict rather than cooperation. As the dialogue unfolded, a fragile understanding began to form. Humanity's mistrust remained, but they acknowledged the Council's willingness to listen. For the first time, there was a glimmer of hope that the standoff could end without bloodshed. Back on Earth, the leaders debated their next move. Commander Lyra's report suggested that the Council was genuine in its desire for peace, but many remained skeptical. Trust was a scarce commodity, and humanity's survival depended on vigilance. In the end, they decided to take a cautious step forward. A small delegation of human representatives would meet with the Council on neutral ground, a derelict station orbiting a distant asteroid. The meeting would be tightly controlled, with security measures in place to ensure humanity's safety. The Council, eager to seize the opportunity, agreed to the terms without hesitation. For the first time, representatives from Earth and the Galactic Council would meet face-to-face. The outcome of this meeting would determine the future of humanity's relationship with the wider galaxy. As the preparations were made, both sides braced for what lay ahead. The fragile truce between Earth and the Council hung in the balance, and the smallest misstep could plunge them into conflict. For humanity, this was more than a diplomatic encounter, it was a test of whether they could finally move beyond their past and embrace a future among the stars. For the Council, it was a chance to prove that their ideals of unity and peace could prevail, even in the face of humanity's defiance. The derelict station orbiting the asteroid was a relic from a bygone era, chosen deliberately as neutral ground. It was stripped of any functioning weaponry and bristled with surveillance to ensure transparency. The Galactic Council's delegation arrived first, their shuttle docking smoothly at the station. First Speaker Dale, accompanied by Director Tom and a small team of seasoned diplomats, stepped into the cold, dim corridors of the station. Their expressions were calm, but the tension was palpable. Moments later, a human vessel approached. Sleek and angular, it bore the marks of both engineering ingenuity and the scars of battles long past. The delegation that emerged reflected humanity's wary resolve, 2 diplomats, a military commander, and an intelligence officer. Commander Lyra, now a central figure in Earth's defense strategy, led the group. Her every movement exuded caution, and her sharp gaze swept over the Council's delegation with unflinching intensity. There was no ceremonial greeting. Both sides simply exchanged nods before proceeding to the meeting chamber, a sparse room with a single table and enough chairs for the delegations. It was symbolic of the trust, or lack thereof, that defined this first encounter. Dale was the first to speak, his voice steady but tinged with humility. "We thank you for agreeing to meet. We understand the risks you've taken and the mistrust you feel. Our goal is not to impose, but to listen." Commander Lyra folded her arms, her tone sharp. "Listening wasn't your first instinct and you arrived unannounced in our system. Your approach triggered our defenses for a reason. You may claim peace, but peace doesn't arrive cloaked in superiority." Dale inclined his head. "You are right. We came with assumptions based on our history with other civilizations. We did not anticipate a species like yours, one forged through survival against threats we failed to consider. For that, we apologize." The room was silent for a moment. Lyra's stance softened slightly, though her skepticism remained. "Apologies are easy. Understanding is harder. Do you even know what you've stumbled into?" Director Tom spoke next, his synthetic voice calm and precise. "We know fragments. Your history suggests multiple conflicts with extraterrestrial forces. The wreckage in your asteroid field speaks volumes. You fought, and you've won. But we do not know the full story. We ask that you share it, Lyra exchanged a glance with her colleagues. The decision to reveal Earth's history had been a contentious one, and now the weight of that choice rested on her shoulders. She took a deep breath before beginning. Over a century ago, humanity encountered its first alien visitors. They didn't come in peace. They came as conquerors, seeking to strip our world of its resources. We were unprepared, barely out of our own atmosphere, with no defenses to speak of. The cost was unimaginable, but we fought back with everything we had. We adapted. We learned. And we survived. She paused, her voice steady but laced with bitterness. That was only the beginning. Over the decades, we faced others. Some came for conquest, others for experimentation, and a few for reasons we never understood. Each time, we were forced to defend ourselves. Each time, we became stronger. Our mistrust isn't paranoia, it's survival instinct. The council delegation listened intently, the gravity of her words sinking in. Humanity's defiance wasn't rooted in arrogance or pride, it was a shield forged in the fires of desperation. They were a species that had been shaped by conflict, their resilience both their greatest strength and their greatest barrier. Dale spoke softly. Your story is unlike any we have encountered. Most civilizations reach out for connection when they encounter the unknown. You have been taught to see it as a threat. But we are not those who came before. We wish to build a different future with you. Lyra's eyes narrowed. Words are cheap. Trust is earned. Tom interjected, his tone pragmatic. What would it take to earn your trust? The question hung in the air, heavy with implications. Lyra and her team conferred quietly before responding. Transparency. Cooperation. Respect. If you truly mean what you say, then share your knowledge with us, not as a tool for control, but as an act of goodwill. Prove that you see us as equals. The council delegation exchanged glances. It was a bold demand, one that would challenge the very principles of the council's hierarchical structure. Yet, Dale knew that this was the only way forward. He nodded. We will share what we can. In return, we ask for the same from you. Trust must flow both ways. The tension in the room eased slightly, though the atmosphere remained cautious. The two sides began to outline the terms of their cooperation. Earth's defenses would remain in place, but the Council would provide technological and scientific support to help humanity grow stronger. In return, humanity would share their knowledge of the alien threats they had faced, offering insights that could benefit the entire galaxy. The meeting lasted hours, each detail carefully negotiated to avoid misunderstandings. By the time both delegations departed, a fragile foundation for an alliance had been laid. It was not a perfect resolution, but it was a beginning, a small step toward bridging the chasm of mistrust that separated them. As the human and council ships departed the station, the galaxy seemed to hold its breath. The future of this fragile alliance was uncertain, but for the first time, there was hope that humanity and the council could find a way forward together. Both sides knew the road ahead would be fraught with challenges, but they also understood the stakes. For humanity, it was a chance to secure their place among the stars. For the Council, it was a chance to prove that peace could triumph over fear. The fragile alliance between humanity and the Galactic Council entered its first critical phase. The negotiations on the derelict station had laid the groundwork, but both sides knew that trust would not come easily. Earth's leaders remained cautious, their defenses as vigilant as ever. On the Council's side, skepticism lingered among its member species, many of whom doubted the wisdom of cooperating with a species so steeped in defiance and isolation. In the months that followed, the first joint efforts began. A Council science vessel was allowed limited access to the outskirts of Earth's solar system, where they studied the remnants of alien wreckage alongside human engineers. Humanity's ingenuity became immediately apparent. The humans had not only salvaged alien technology but had adapted and improved upon it in ways the Council's brightest minds had never considered. For their part, the Council shared advanced techniques in energy production and medical sciences, technologies that could transform life on Earth. The exchange was cautious, each side measuring the other's intentions with every interaction. Yet, small moments of mutual respect began to emerge. Human scientists marveled at the Council's knowledge, while the Council's representatives found themselves admiring humanity's relentless drive to overcome every obstacle. Despite these strides, tensions remained high. Not all humans were in favor of the alliance, and factions within Earth's leadership questioned whether the Council could truly be trusted. Meanwhile, on the Council's side, whispers of dissent grew louder. Some member species believed humanity was too dangerous, its history of conflict too great a risk to the delicate balance of galactic peace. The breaking point came when an alien fleet, a rogue faction unaffiliated with the Council, entered the solar system. The fleet, remnants of one of humanity's past adversaries, had been hunting Earth's survivors for decades. The Council detected the incursion first and immediately sent a warning to Earth. This was their moment to prove their sincerity. Humanity's response was swift. Earth's warships, already battle-ready, mobilized to intercept the incoming fleet. The Council's own forces offered to assist, but Earth's commanders were hesitant. Commander Lyra, now a central figure in the alliance, faced a difficult choice. Accept the Council's help and risk revealing their full capabilities, or refuse and potentially face overwhelming odds. After a tense deliberation, she made her decision. Humanity would allow the Council to assist but under strict conditions. Council ships would follow human orders during the engagement, a concession that did not sit well with all Council members. Still, First Speaker Dale agreed, recognizing the importance of showing humanity that they could be trusted. The battle that followed was nothing short of spectacular. Earth's warships, utilizing both their own ingenuity and salvaged alien technology, fought with precision and ferocity. Council ships provided critical support, using their advanced shielding to protect vulnerable human vessels and coordinating strikes with human commanders. Together, they overwhelmed the rogue fleet, forcing its remnants into retreat. In the aftermath of the battle, something remarkable happened. For the first time, human and Council soldiers stood side by side, exchanging cautious words of gratitude. The cooperation had not only saved lives but had forged a bond born of shared struggle. The alliance, once teetering on the edge of collapse, began to solidify. Back on Earth, the victory sparked a shift in public opinion. Humanity, long accustomed to standing alone, began to see the potential of working with the Council. While mistrust remained, the battle had proven that cooperation was not only possible but beneficial. In the Galactic Council, the success of the joint operation silenced many of the dissenting voices. Humanity's strength, once seen as a threat, was now viewed as an asset. The Council passed a historic resolution formally recognizing Earth as an independent and equal member of the interstellar community. It was a moment that marked the beginning of a new era. First Speaker Dale and Commander Lyra met one final time before the Council's fleet departed Earth's solar system. Their conversation was brief but meaningful. "You fought well," Dale said, his tone respectful. "Your people have earned the galaxy's respect." Lyra nodded, her expression firm. "And you've earned a chance to prove that your Council stands for more than words. Don't waste it." As the Council's ships disappeared into the void, Earth was left stronger and more united than ever. The alliance was still young, its future uncertain, but the seeds of trust had been planted. Humanity, once isolated and mistrustful, had taken its first steps toward a broader role in the galaxy. The Council, humbled and inspired, had learned that peace was not a gift to be given but a bond to be earned. The galaxy watched as the alliance grew, a symbol of what could be achieved when strength met understanding. Humanity had not just survived, it had thrived. And now, for the first time in its history, it had allies among the stars.